So I think I don't have a technical background as Yad does in software engineering. So for me, a lot of the kind of involvement is in the trenches, interacting with our customers and the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I see that there is, a huge wave of entrepreneurial spirit that is going to, crash essentially in the upcoming years. A majority of the customers we interact with are younger than us, they're tech savvy, and they're ambitious as well, and those are exactly the characteristics of the people we want to work with. They push us to iterate our product so that we improve upon the services. And just to go back on the point on who do we see as competitors in the landscape, I think this gives us a leading edge actually, in comparison to them, because our founding mantra is that we will only succeed if our merchants succeed. And yes, we've been kind of, we're a lean startup at the moment, but the more traction that we gain in the market, we know that, that will naturally result in us, getting bigger and bigger. I think I see the space, just getting bigger. I don't think digital payments are going to go down. There are some problems and roadblocks in the way, but I mean, these are challenges that any economy, any country, any jurisdiction have to face. And it's actually very exciting for us that we can, provide the solutions for this. I mean, we're right now in the space where we're identifying these challenges. We're, to the best of our abilities, going to try create solutions to those. And to the extent we need to reach out to other organizations to try push forward the entire landscape, more than happy to do that. And then also, reaching out to organizations like Tech Pakistan. It's important for us to have a pulse of what's going on in the entrepreneurial network across the country.
Yeah, no, just to add to what Raza was saying, I think there's going to be a big enablement of new kinds of businesses and companies that, we haven't seen right now in Pakistan. And key to that is going to be a solid payments infrastructure for the online economy. Right now, whether that's going to come from SafePay or someone else, hopefully SafePay will play a part in that.
Sure.
But I think what's going to be interesting is how this space kind of evolves. Right now we're seeing majority of online transactions taking place in e-commerce stores. We're seeing slowly how new types of industries are being digitized. So a lot of startups that are popping up, whether they're travel startups or insurance startups, or marketplaces, peer-to-peer marketplaces, etc. Those all kind of need a solid payments or economic infrastructure to conduct these kinds of transactions. And one of the interesting things I saw while I was in the States was how technology startups like Stripe and Braintree at the time were able to spearhead and supercharge these startups that eventually, they couldn't exist without companies like Stripe or Braintree. So you think of Uber, Lyft, Instacart that does grocery deliveries, all of these companies, without the payments aspect, they wouldn't be able to survive. So the ease and accessibility of a simple payments infrastructure for companies so that they don't have to focus on that and they can just focus on what they're doing is going to be huge to Pakistan in the coming years. So entrepreneurship, I think, it's more of an attribute of a person. You have to, it's a mindset as well, right? So a lot of people say कि आपको company शुरू करनी है, don't do it, it's too much of a struggle, this and that, you will get demoralized and eventually you won't do it. But I think that's the wrong way to look about it. What a person who wants to start something should think about is accept that it's going to be a struggle for sure, but also think about the larger impact that they can have on the people that are going to eventually rely on their product. Okay, if that could be such a strong motivator for someone that they can eventually overcome all of those internal kind of mental roadblocks that are going to maybe stop you or cause you to quit or something. But in Pakistan, the key thing is that you have such an opportunity, it's such an untapped market for so many reasons, that someone with the right mindset or a small team can have a larger impact beyond just themselves, beyond their community, and ultimately, beyond even the country maybe. That it's extremely exciting for someone to take on that challenge. It's scary for sure, but it's ultimately extremely rewarding in many ways for the person taking on that challenge. So I think it should be encouraged. There should be proper frameworks coming out by the government, which they are. So that's a good step in the right direction. And ultimately, yeah, there's things going on that we're kind of in touch with, and we know about certain things, but certain things we don't know about. And these kind of things will keep evolving, and the ecosystem will continue to grow.
So I kind of divide the entrepreneurship question you posed into safe pay and non-safe pay. So from the safe pay side, it's kind of obvious what we're trying to achieve. Ziad's already mentioned it. We want to enable merchants that are showing entrepreneurial spirit just to get on with it. They shouldn't have to be worried about how they're getting payments. That's something for us to worry about. Just to add to Ziad's point on the non-safe pay side, definitely agree with him. It's a mental attribute. Unfortunately, I think Pakistan is a step behind many countries, even regionally, in terms of that. You see some of the ongoings in some of the neighboring countries that we have. I don't think there's any intrinsic reason why Pakistan is in this situation, and we're definitely hearing the right noise. But some of the with safe pay, we can do our bit for the payments part. What we kind of need to see is equivalent companies setting up in different spaces, solving the kind of roadblocks that we see. So in e-commerce, that is logistics side, for example, and transport, which there's huge rooms for improvement in that. That's not our space. But for us to kind of enable our merchants through payments, and for that dot to connect with the dot of kind of increased orders for them, that angle also has to be kind of considered. And we're hearing the right noise from the government, and hopefully over the next 3 to 4 years, policy implementations that have been kind of proposed will result in actual action. But really the time is now for us to start seizing on that. We shouldn't wait for for other countries to kind of go ahead further in the next 5 to 10 years.